Ancient Greek and Roman gods and goddesses. Focus question. What did the ancient Greeks and Romans believe about their gods and goddesses? Words to know: chariot, disguise, immortal, mysterious, mythology, nymphs, realm, scepter, tempters, titans, trillion, underworld, temples, connections, writing. Create a new Greek god or goddesses. Believe the god or goddesses a name and symbol and describe what special powers they possess. Include a picture of the new Greek god and goddess to accompany your description. Social studies. Create a diagram to show how the gods and goddesses are related to one another. Include their names, domains, and symbols. Introduction. The ancient Greeks told stories about great wars, adventures, and romance. They built temples of their gods and goddesses and crafted great works of art. The ancient Greeks believed that gods and goddesses were much like humans, except larger, stronger, and more beautiful. But most important of all, immortal. They were called Olympians because they lived on the Mount Olympus. The gate of the clouds circled its peak, allowing only the gods and goddesses to pass. Like mirror models, the Olympians enjoyed games, music, art, and fancy jewelry. They fell in love, married, and had children. They even argued and fought with one another. Sometimes they disguised themselves as people or other animals when visiting Earth to trick humans into believing that deities were mortal. The trickery was a way to test humans. The gods and goddesses helped heroes honor people who honored them and punish those who didn't. These deities were basis of the Greek and Roman religion. More than interesting stories, Greeks prayed to and worshipped these gods and goddesses. Zeus, the god of sky and weather, domain name Jupiter, domain the sky, symbol thunderbolt. Jesus was the king of Olympians, god of sky and weather, and the mightiest of the gods. All the other gods have to obey him. Jesus had not only always ruled heaven, he led his brother Poseidon and Hades to overthrow the father Kronos and other titans. After the titans defeated, Zeus and his brother divided up the score to rule. Jesus won the contest to ward of the sky. Thunder and lightning became his weapon. The Greeks believed that Zeus protected the kings and rulers of the earth. He watched over everyone who upheld law and protected those who were wrong. Poseidon, Roman name Neptune, domain the ocean, symbol trident. Poseidon, gods of the ocean. Poseidon was the ruler of Earth's oceans. His kingdom suited him because his mood changed as quickly as the sea. When he was angry, Poseidon summoned storms and earthquakes with his magic trident. With the same trident, he could calm the waves. Poseidon roamed his kingdom in a golden chariot pulled by horses and the shapes of waves. One story says Poseidon created the first horse while trying to impress the goddess of the harvest, Demeter. She asked him to make her a new animal, one more beautiful than any other. When he made a horse, he was delighted. Poseidon was delighted too, so much so that he forgot Demeter in a hurry and to make more horses. Hades, Roman name Pluto, domain the underworld, symbol helmet. Hades, god of the underworld. Hades won the realm known as the underworld, where he ruled as a god of death. He made sure the dead were properly buried. The earth's hidden wealth belonged to him as well. Gold, silver, and other treasure buried in underground. Most Greek gods lived in palaces, but Hades seldom left the dark underworld. He asked Zeus to let him marry the lovely Poseidon. When the Zeus agreed, Hades carried her to his palace. Persephone's mother, Demeter, asked Jesus until he ordered Hades to return her daughter to daylight. Hades obeyed, but only after offering Poseidon food from his underworld kingdom. She ate several proboscides, which required her to return to Hades' realm for a few months each year. Hermes, Roman name Mercury, domain merchants, symbol herald's staff. Hermes, god of the merchants. Hermes, god of the merchants, was the son of Jesus and the only god beside Hades allowed in the underworld. When someone died, Hermes guided the persons to Hades' realm. Any similarity in Hades ended there. Hades seldom spoke or smiled, but Hermes loved to laugh and play tricks on people. While still a baby, he tiptoed from his mother's side to steal his brother's cow. He covered the cow's feet with bark to hide their tracks and tied one from the tail to sweep around behind them. Hermes' quick wit and clever tongue so pleased his father that he made Hermes his messenger. Jesus gave Hermes wingless sand and a wingless golden cap to speed him on his way. Hera, queen of the gods, Roman name Juno, domain, marriage and birth, symbol, peacock feather. Hera, the goddess of marriage and childbirth, was Jesus' wife and the queen of the gods. She was the one to allow with earlier to hear Jesus. Hera wore a royal crown, carried with a scepter, tiptoed with a lotus blossom, and drove a chariot pulled by peacocks. Greek women asked her for blessings at weddings. Hera was also the goddess of childbirth, but her to protect a mother when giving birth. How Romans got their deities. The Romans in the 7th century BCE admired the Greeks so much that they modeled their society on that Greece. They even had some same gods and goddesses, but expanded their personalities. Some became warlike, while others became less powerful. The Roman versions of the names of these deities were once given to the planets of our solar system. Amedes, Roman name Diana, domain the moon and the hunt, symbol golden bow and arrows. Amedes, goddess of the hunting. Amedes was the goddess of hunting, the wildness in the wild animal. While she's still a child, she convinced her father Jesus to let her stay unmarried forever. She would spend her days hunting in the mountain and forest with nymphs to tend her hounds. Amedes well protected animals and hunted them, thus making her a popular game hunters. Amedes was a popular favorite goddess among worshippers in rural populations due to her association with wild nature. Greeks and Romans used music and dance to worship Amedes. Amedes was also a goddess of childbirth because she helped her mother give birth to a twin brother. Amedes' role as a childbirth goddess differed from Hera's. Hera protected the mother, and Amedes guarded the newborn baby. Hephaestus, the Roman name Broken, domain the volcano Athena, symbol fire and the axe. Hephaestus, god of fire, crafts and blacksmiths. Hephaestus was the god of fire, volcanoes, crafts and craftsmanship, and blacksmiths. He was born with disability affecting his legs. When his mother Hera saw him, she was so upset that she threw him from the Olympus. Hades fell from the ocean far below, where sea goddesses found him and gave him shelter. She lived with them for 9 years, working as a blacksmith until he became the Olympian's most crafted skillman. Both deities and heroes delighted his finely crafted weapons, armor, and jewelry. One day, Hephaestus made a marvelous throne of gold and sent it to the Olympus. When Hera sat on the throne, hidden springs and wedged her in place. Hera had made a trap to punish her for throwing him away. Aphrodite, Roman name Venus, domain love and beauty, symbol seashell. Aphrodite, goddess of love and beauty. Golden-haired Aphrodite was a goddess of love and beauty. She had the power to give beauty and charm to those who please her and make anyone fall in love. The mischievous child god Eros, called Cupid by the Romans, were her son. When Hera was caught by Hephaestus' trap, Jesus offered Aphrodite's hand in marriage to whoever freed his wife. Unable to resist Aphrodite's loveliness, Hephaestus came to Mount Olympus to free his mother and marry Aphrodite. When they get married, Hephaestus made Aphrodite a metal belt woven with precious gems and magic. Its power made Aphrodite completely irresistible to both gods and men. Ares, Roman name Mars, domain war, symbol spear and helmet. Ares, god of war. Ares was the god of war and was the son of Jesus and Hera. He was a fierce, strong warrior who wielded the gigantic spears. Ares loved the destruction and smell of war. Sometimes other gods and goddesses chose one side to support in battle, but not Ares. He didn't care who was right or wrong. Sometimes he even switched sides mid-battle. Ares loved fighting for its own sake. Ares did not get well along with other Olympians, most of whom hated his attitude and violence. He was often found with his sister Eris, the goddess of discord, who had the power to stir up war. He was also in love with Aphrodite, who loved the handsome god of war, but she loved her husband, Hephaestus. Athena, Roman name, Minerva, domain, wisdom, war, and the arts. Symbol, owl. Athena, goddess of war and wisdom. Of all Jesus' children, Athena was the strangest birth. She sprang from Jesus' head, fully grown and dressed in a golden armor. Athena became Jesus' favorite child, and the only one allowed to use all his weapons. Athena was a goddess of war who gave leaders good advices. The Greeks also believed that she was responsible for many types of wisdom. They gave her credit for inventing arts, such as spinning, weaving, pottery, and cooking. For farmers, she invented the plow and horse's bridle. Her talents made her a symbol of justice and morality. Athena was the patron goddess of Athens, a city named in her honor. A city held a yearly festival called the Patanina to thank Athena. Conclusion. The Greek gods and goddesses held a central role in ancient Greek society, inspiring countless of sculptures, temples, and other works of art. But their influence didn't end in ancient Greece. Not far away from Italy, the Romans modeled much of the society on the Greeks. Even modern people look at ancient Greece for ideas and the temples and statues. The first Olympic Games in 776 BCE were running contests how to honor the gods and goddesses. They gave rise to the Olympic Games. In fact, the ancient Greeks is sometimes called the birthplace of Western society. The ideas illustrated in Greek mythology have shaped and the way people think and interact today.